once Paul is clear. Yeah,
Yes.
right
Okay, I
now.
think we're live.
You think or you know?
I know.
Oh,
All right.
Yep, it's live.
it's
Is everybody
not.
ready?
It says
No,
live.
no.
Pretty ready.
How can you be ready for this?
Look at that, it's shiny.
Hello.
Oh,
Woo! Hello, everyone.
hmm.
Yes.
Let's go. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Welcome, Home Assistant Summer Edition, Home Assistant 2023.7 release party. We're here to party and to release. No.
Start the beat.
Yeah. So, yeah. Again, welcome everybody. We're gonna do quickly a round of introduction. Lots of new faces today. Just be good to get to know everybody. My name is Paulus Schoutse. I'm the founder of Home Assistant. Almost 10 years ago, minus 2 months. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and that's me.
Hi, I'm Frank, and I mostly work on a Home Assistant project, and you might see me from the release notes and doing the releases at this point.
Alan?
Hi, I'm Alan, and I contribute to the Nest integration and some of the calendar integrations.
Hi, I'm Madalena. I just started at Nabucasa 2 days ago, and I'm the product design lead for this new product and design department.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that in a bit as well. But I think we should first kick into the release because I guess we were planning on a small release after the last release was pretty big, and we have failed. So I think there's a lot to cover.
Yeah, the last release was like, oh, this one is huge, and this release was, this one is even bigger. What happened? Well, Alan happened, I would say.
Yeah. All right. Should we kick it off?
Yeah, let's do. Oh, it's my screen. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Let me resize a bit so it fits better. I think that should be possible. Yeah, gonna squeeze a little bit more out of it. I think this is it.
Boom.
Here we go. Boom. 0.7 July.
Yes. My birthday month.
Your birthday month. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah, right. Yours, not Home Assistant. That's
No.
September, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. So, first thing to notice are new integrations. Should we start with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First one here is Discovery G. Help me out here.
Discover G.
I probably misspelled it on some places as well, like whatever. So it is an integration that can integrate some smart meter, electricity meter, and gas, I believe, even as well. So if you have a compatible meter, you can pull in your energy data now into Home Assistant. So that's cool.
And this is German, right? I think.
I don't know.
My 5 seconds Googling. It's a German company.
Oh, well. I'm not going to try again. Never mind. Then we have, on the right of it, we have Dremel. And Dremel is mostly known for their hobby like tools and such, like the Dremel multi-drill tool. I'm not sure what the name is, but something like that. But they also make 3D printers. Nice. So if you have one of those, you can now pull data from your printer in. You know, when it's finished printing and do a notification and things like that. So that's pretty helpful. On the bottom left, we have Locked. And Locked is it's a lock for your house.
Yeah,
it's locking it.
Oh, this one is like Locked is it's kind of a thing in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So sorry, I have a little like itch in my throat. But the Locked is like, I believe it's like a police certification for insurance and such. They have like a 3-star rating of 2-star SKG rating or something like that. Netherlands, so it's pretty interesting to see. but they now work with Home Assistant, so that's nice.
Ooh.
And then we have Ranson, and Ranson is an air ventilation system for your home, like air circulation. And you can connect Home Assistant to it, and it will provide you all kinds of data, like sensory data of the air quality that goes through it, like the amount of air, but also like I believe pollution kind of deals, like quality sensors. So that's good. Yeah, that's nice. So 4 new integrations. Boom.
It's forever growing, right? I feel like there's like, I don't know how many we have right now, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a number, but it's high.
Yeah,
I know if I try to open the folder that contains them all, that it doesn't work because it's just too much. It stops at 1,000, so it's at literally over 1,000.
It's 1,164.
There you go.
Checked. Yeah, that's wild, by the way, because that's not just devices, that's APIs, right? Like a lock has multiple locks. Like, I mean, Z-Wave has whatever 50,000 devices. It's very cool.
Well, Zigbee even worse, I would say.
Yeah. Matter has 5.
Matter of 5. Oh, wow. All right. So let's dive into the main features of this release. Do you want to start with the big one?
Let's do it.
So, Alan, do you want to talk about what you've built?
Yeah. Where to start? Yeah. So, I mean, this is something we've been talking about. I was looking at it, and I think we started talking about it. I mean, at least I started talking about it with you folks about a year ago, but I'm sure you've been talking about it about longer. But yeah, I guess the summary is, services can now respond with data. I guess kind of stepping back, I started thinking about this kind of with respect to calendars, kind of seeing, how could we make calendars more usable or easier to use, and kind of reading the community forums of all the crazy, good ideas that people have of what they want to go do, and thinking like, how can we kind of go, unlock some of these things? For myself, for example, just simple things like wanting more flexibility than you can get from the existing calendar with kind of one event at a time has been kind of one thing I've been thinking about. So for example, I look at my calendar, I've got many events throughout the week, and maybe a couple events ahead, I've got, I'm going to go somewhere in a particular location, and I want to maybe track that location or something a little more hands-on, right? So there's all kinds of really interesting use cases we could talk about. But anyway, kind of started thinking about, what's kind of the right way to go explore this. And I think prototyped a few things, and I think we ended up on kind of services with response data as the way to kind of go forward here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the intro, but I know we'll kind of talk a lot more about it. So,
well, it was kind of interesting, right? Because we explored alternatives, right? We had what we call data sources, and data source has been interesting because data sources initial time that we proposed it actually resulted in the trigger being added to template entities, where like, why do we need like new places to get data? We can just have like triggers like get data and then update entities, which actually solved part of the use cases that we had initially architected for. But then the templates was like a whole new thing. And like we had, Alan actually built every idea out there. Alan prototyped.
We had so many ideas, and Alan was like, sure, I will build that, and we can see how it works out. That was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, we had data sources as like a separate platform at some point. But then we realized that we're basically mimicking services in every way, except for like it can return something. And to basically copy paste all that code or make it reusable, but like if statements everywhere, it was just like, no, let's just put it in services, and let's not complicate everything for everyone.
Shall I show like a service?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Bam. Welcome to my instance with like a lot of issues, but it works for demo purposes. I've been like misusing this instance for like screenshots and testing and for release notes. So over the years, it actually like got butchered very well, but at least it contains everything, and I know it works because I made screenshots. Yeah. For example, the service Alan just talked about is the the calendar list event service, which is a new one. And well, let's try this one. Let's pick a target. I think my garbage pickup is a good one to show. And let's see what is in stock for the next 10 days, 240 hours. And I can call this server. So originally services are something you could call and then something would happen, right? So you could turn on your light or, I don't know, toggle the power plug behind your multimedia center or something like that. And it would also always be like an action that you executed and then it's done. If it would fail, it would stop the execution of the service or script. But otherwise, there would be like no response at all. If everything ran, it was just okay. But now Alan added a possibility to return data. So in this case, calendar.list events will in this case return like the next 10 days of my waste disposal calendar. If I call this service, I will actually get something new here, which is the response. And in this case, my organic waste is being picked up soon. That's the next one. So this is only one event response, which is already great. But if I would extend this to like 100 days, like that would work. I will get all the calendar items back. And this is a fundamental big thing, right?
This is.
I was really curious to see what your trash schedule looked like for the next 100 days. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now,
so this is
a very fundamental thing in that, like, if you go back like almost 10 years, right? If you look at what Home Assistant was built around, it was events, and we had state changes, fire events, and services is to interact with the entities and write the states. And that has been the foundation. Everything we've added over the years was always built on top of that, right? We've added validation of configuration and like entity platforms, entity components, lights were built on top of that, and switches were built on top of that, and integrations were built on top of that again. And now this is actually changing the way Home Assistant works, like the actual core. This is adding a new feature at the very bottom level. And it's a bit, I think the reason it has taken so long is because it's hard to kind of grasp the impact of this today. Like, we're taking tiny steps, right? We have two services that support it. It's list events, and then the other one is the conversation agent, so talking to assist. And it's going to be interesting to see what everybody's going to do with it. We're not going to like go around accepting every kind of service now. Like, we need to really think about the implications of this, because just, Home Assistant is not a programming language, right? Some people use it that way, but we do want to make a lot of powerful automations possible. And I think that we've definitely unlocked that, and it's going to be very, very cool.
Yeah, I think that's why we kind of spent so much time experimenting and prototyping, is really thinking about, hey, what are those, implications? Because this is kind of a big change, right? What's the kind of like way we could get started here without, something that we wouldn't make things way too complicated to use or might have unintended side effects. Also kind of seeing this, across a few different, use cases of like, hey, we've got more data here that is larger than the state machine that seems like useful for people to use, but doesn't quite feel right to just go, stick into a sensor and make it super complicated to go use there, right? Like a shopping list search or route directions or all these kind of things people have thought about, or like, that doesn't quite feel right for a sensor, right? I
mean, that's actually a really good point, right? Like the way around this was always to just put everything in the state machine. Like, you would put a whole forecast in the state machine. What is the forecast of the solar generation in 3 hours, 4 hours? You have like 50 entities, and it's kind of like figure it out. And we were always calculating it, because the state machine is, we putting the data there in case you need it, not when you need it, right? And so this changes it. This is like, especially with things that cost time, CPU, or money, right? Like API calls can cost money to cloud services. Then it's important that we only do it when you need it. So this is really cool. So should we do the next step of the demo, Frank?
what is the next step of the demo? Like, we didn't prepare anything, so you're pushing me in some way. I should try. But that's fine. I'm happy to demo anything, but don't get me wrong. I didn't know what the next step would be. Then.
Okay, well, I mean, we have, so Alan has a blueprint, right?
Yeah.
Which I think that, do you have it like, do you have your screen sharing ready, Alan? I have like I rebuilt your blueprint in just a script, just as a demo for people, which I can show as well.
We have two things here, right? Shall we show that one quickly too? Because like that makes the full story, I would say. Like we have the calendar event, and there's another one, which is conversation.process. So as we said, we have to learn how this will impact Home Assistant. So we have right now published two services. One is the get events from the calendar, and the second one is the conversation process, which is actually talking to the default conversation agent or the one you select. And you can basically ask questions like how many lights are on. If I would call this service, I would get a response back with 12, including the data of the things that are on at this point. And this is helpful in a way because we could also change to a conversation agent that is OpenAI. So I think he can do jokes, right?
Please let it be an acceptable joke.
Well, it's a Mario, so it probably should be. Right. So here's a joke. So you could write an do a service call in automation that actually like returns a query from ChatGPT, which is pretty awesome.
This is a good joke, actually. This is.
I was not reading it, so. Oh. Right. That's a pretty good joke. Okay.
Not children friend.
Yeah. There's a question already. I'm gonna pop it up. Yeah. Ambient tick. Curious if I can call the service to ask Home Assistant about the events happened in the past. In theory, yes, but we haven't added services to query the history yet. And the reason for that is mainly just because we kind of ran out of time, but we also wanted to make sure that the queries we are going to provide are optimized. And the history, the database, it's very easy to start querying the database and break things and be inefficient queries that take a lot of CPU resources. So for now, this release has not been available.
If that question is about calendar events specifically, however, you can scan backwards in the calendar for what it's worth if the data is there in the calendar.
That's true.
But yeah, in general,
this is a good question.
Yeah,
is interesting.
It's a good question because this is like the things we should be able to do now, right? In the future or whatever, like querying history, did it already rain today and will it rain today? If both answers are no, maybe I should water the garden, right? Like we could go into things like that for the future, which is super exciting. At least I think it's super exciting to go down that path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next step is, of course, we've shown these two services. How do you combine them? And so to combine them, we have extended the script syntax. The script syntax is what we use in automations and actions, right? Like an action of an automation is using our script syntax. Scripts use our script syntax. So yeah, let's have a look. Shall I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
First off, just for my screen, I'm just gonna enhance. This is just a calendar. I quickly added some events today. I hope it's readable. Yeah. So drop off kids at school, Home Assistant release party, pick up kids. Now, let me first, added all this into a script. And the reason I added it to a script and an automation is because I want to show you the response. So open my script. So the first thing here is that I'm calling the event, list events on the home calendar. I've hard-coded the date for now, but normally you would just use a duration. And it's by default, if you don't specify start time, it will use now. So you can say next 12 hours, next 24 hours. But I want to have all events that were happening today. So I kind of hard-coded it for the demo. But here you see a new field, response variable. And as you might know, within our scripts, we have variables. You can set variables, you can mutate variables, you can update them. And so what this happens is that because Home Assistant knows that list events has a response value, you can actually now say, I want that response and store it in this variable. So now you know in the next step, hey, the results of these events are being stored in the variable events. Now, the next step, what we're going to do here, we're going to call the service conversation process. Now, I'm using a template. So the visual editor said, you got to do the YAML, which it's okay. I didn't even do anything special here. I just say, explain to me how I should prepare for my day based on the following events on my calendar. And I just dumped that result of the list events in, which it's kind of interesting because this is just going to be formatted as like a JSON thing, but it's being sent to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is smart enough, so that's good. The agent ID, this is ChatGPT as well. And the last thing, and we haven't even talked about this, is that a new feature here is that when you do a stop command in your script, you can say, I want the script to return a response. So in this case, I had set up my service call response variable to be processed. So the variable processed now contains whatever ChatGPT came up with based on my calendar. And now I say, stop this script and set the response value of this whole script to the variable processed. And what's really cool now is that because scripts can have return values, you will be able to take, like, if you have a piece of logic that you reuse among like 5 or 10 automations, you can now move this into a single script. Scripts can have parameters that data is accessible as variables when you call scripts. You can have response variables. So all of a sudden you can create very good, powerful, reusable logic for anything that you're using. And so you can call script inside your service, inside another automation, store the response of the script, and then process on it as you wish. So how does this look right now? I mean, this is, I'm going to call the service. The response here is from the previous, when I was testing it. Ooh, I messed up. Give me a second. There's a bug right now where it doesn't show the response, but I'm just going to live fix this for you. Try it.
Good demo. But basically, the thing is, every script you now create can have a response.
Yes. This is my ChatGPT is also set to pretend to be Mario, by the way. But yeah, it's like here you can see like first drop off the kids at school, then get ready to party like it's 1985 at the Home Assistant release party. After that,
Oh, wow.
Don't forget to channel your inner race car driver and zoom over to pick up the kids, because like it knows this event is right after the party, right? Like to pick up my kids. It's going to be a busy day, but with a little Mario magic, you'll ace it. Yahoo!
That's pretty great.
It's amazing.
And this means that, like, if you are using Home Assistant and you want to have a daily summary when you wake up, for example, as a notification on your phone, you could, of course, copy all the things I just did. Or Alan has built a blueprint that we were also linked in the release notes of Home Assistant that does this all. Right, Alan?
Yeah. I should have that blueprint here.
You have? Wow.
I can show that. Let's see here. In dark mode, does that translate well?
Some people asked for it in the chat, so probably some people will be happy.
We'll balance it out a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of the same idea, but using a blueprint that I created. Say, hey, at 7 a.m., I'd like to send a notification. I normally have this set to go to my phone, but for the demo right now, we'll make it pop up a notification in the UI. I've got some calendars here. This is also my test instance that I've used as well. But this is my real calendar, so hopefully this will be interesting. I have it set to do 18 hours, so like give me everything that's going to happen today. And I've also got it including the weather and location. One thing about the location is it seems like ChatGPT also kind of knows lat long potentially, so it kind of grabs the lat long from the zone, and then you can kind of pick your conversation agent. I put in here a little prompt, kind of like, to give it some, doing a little prompt engineering here of like the kind of, like, hey, don't say 0% chance of participation or precipitation or these other kind of boring things, but like, be helpful generally. And somebody said, hey, the notifications are kind of long sometimes. So I said, hey, let's try to keep it short.
Yeah.
So
before you run it, can you just, well, one of the features that was added, I think this release, is that, can you close the menu for a second? You see the small cog icon next to the conversation agent. Whenever you pick a agent that is not Home Assistant, like the ChatGPT, you can actually directly jump into the settings and configure that conversation agent. This is a feature that we added. So it tries to, like, you can do everything from the same page. So this is just the options flow for this config entry.
Yeah. Okay. So this is going to combine this prompt plus this prompt plus there's another prompt in the blueprint as well, and so it's going to combine all of them. So kind of leads to some fun results sometimes. So maybe I'll give this a little run and we'll see what it does. Give it a second, and I've got a little notification. Okay. Good morning. So I'm in Los Angeles here, so the weather's pretty mild. So bring a light jacket. Hey, the release party is starting, and have a great day. So pretty cool. Enjoy the party. It's pretty magic, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I could also go. Let's see what's going ahead this week. So maybe we'll do 7 times 24 and do the week ahead. We'll see what else. See what else I have planned for the week. So I'm off work this week, so let's see what it did. Didn't quite get that. Let me try to save and run it again. Did I forget that? Okay, here we go. So you got the Home Assistant release party. Enjoy the celebration. Tomorrow you have plans for miniature golf. So I'll see you guys there at the miniature golf tomorrow. I'm going to bowling. I've got a doctor's appointment. So it's kind of laid out my full schedule there. Pretty cool. I did one the other day for like, oh, my kids are on summer break or they're at summer school, and it's like, oh yeah, it's day 2 of your kids being at summer school. Like, it kind of has pretty good intuition there, just given that little data about the events.
Wow.
So yeah, this is awesome. And because it's a blueprint, you will be able to just hit that button in the release notes, import it into your Home Assistant instance. You will have to set up ChatGPT or the Google Generative AI. If you're in the US, you can access that one as well. And then, this blueprint will do all the magic for you. And of course, if you feel like you want to extend it, you can, of course, do the prompt. The prompt has access to templates, so you can just pull in any data of your state machine. And if you want to do more stuff, you can always just, blueprints generate automation. So you can just copy paste that and make it your own automation.
Yeah, I tested it out with ChatGPT with this current prompt, also with the Google Generative AI, but I think that one might need some prompt adjustments. So I'd recommend modifying the blueprint there a little bit because it doesn't quite pick up on a couple things yet.
Yeah, it would be nice to see like more contributions on people submitting blueprints related to voice assistant, so that we can make something really powerful, more powerful than Alexa or Google can ever do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely not a blueprint expert, so I'm really excited to see what folks that are really good at this stuff can come up with. It's going to be pretty awesome.
And then actually for the people making blueprints, if you're going to make and share a blueprint and you run into issues where you feel like I cannot express myself correctly, get users to get the right selectors, please let us know, right? We're happy to extend it to make sure that anyone can create awesome blueprints.
Yep. For this release, we added if you make blueprints, the agent or the conversation agent selector. People are writing those, so you can give people the choice in the blueprint which a conversation agent confers to. So in this case, OpenAI, but could be as well another one. This is, by the way, a screen share of the release notes, the chapter about all of this, so you can read up again. But there's the blueprint from Alan is shared here. And this will import it directly from our website. So if you have upgraded, you can just import that little blueprint that Alan just showed with the click of a button there.
Very
so
cool.
Paul's already showed.
This was feature 1.
Yeah,
30 minutes in.
30 minutes in, but this is a big one. And by the way, so I'm Yeah, thank you again, Alan. By the way, this is going to be huge for the upcoming time and the upcoming months. I'm so curious to see how this will change and the landscape.
Yeah, thanks for all the collaboration. I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'm excited to see what people do with this, and get more ideas.
Yeah. Just one final note, just like with Alan's blueprint, you can pick a conversation agent. Don't pick Home Assistant. You need to pick one that is generative AI. Home Assistant only works on like the sentences that work for your language, for your turning on your home, like turn on the lights. So if you send it whatever Alan's blueprint is generating, you'll just be like, sorry, I don't understand that. Will be the response.
I adjusted the blueprint from Alan to include that warning in the place you choose the agent. Yeah, but yes, totally right. So it will ask for that.
Yeah.
All right. So big feature number 1. Yay. 1 down. 15 to go or something. What shall we go in next? Should we just go to scroll down the list and see
Let's scroll down, yeah.
All right. New entity dialog for locks. So we've been improving locks, or entity dialogs recently, and this cycle we've modernized locks, and this is how it looks. Pretty slick. Looks like a switch, a little bit like combined with the alarm control panel because it has a state in between that is locking and unlocking, and during that time it will show a little animation to indicate it's busy doing locking or unlocking. And if you have a lock like code, like an input code or a security code on it, it will pop up like the security key path that is also available on the alarm control panel. So yeah, locks look now shiny and great.
Nice.
Yep.
This, by the way, this is just for the people, like we've been, just the context is like we've been updating more info dialogues for like, a while now, and we're almost there, like wrapping them all up. And the goal is just to modernize them, make them pleasant to use, make sure that they work nice on mobile as well. No small touch targets anymore. And it's looking gorgeous. But yeah, don't think that we forgot all the other parts of Home Assistant. That's where Madalena is gonna come in. Madalena is gonna strengthen the team, but we already have, Matthias has been working at Nabucasa now for 2 years, and working on, all the more info dialogues. And now that we're gonna, grow the team and we're gonna even have a product manager start at Nabucasa next month. That's a sneak peek, I guess. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
The team has been doing an amazing job so far.
Yeah,
this looks great.
Yeah, this looks beautiful. I like the new dialogues a lot compared to the old ones. And I've seen some sneak peeks for hopefully next release. We'll see. But like those will be mind-blowing, at least what I've seen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm telling too much now, I guess. Let's scroll down. Sentence triggers. Also new this cycle.
So this is actually a good moment to talk about Year of the Voice, which, of course, Home Assistant, we're having Year of the Voice. Year of the Voice, our goal is that we want everyone to be able to control their smart home in their own language using their voice at the end of the year. That's kind of the goal. And we've been making steps for that. We did in chapter 1, we announced Assist, which is our natural language processing engine. It means that you can send the sentence, turn on the light in the living room, and Home Assistant will understand that, know you're talking about your area at the living room, know that you're talking about the lights, turn them on, send back a response saying, done. And we've been kind of like chapter 2 was where we added text to speech, speech to text. We announced that 2 months ago. And this month, in July 20, we're going to do chapter 3, Year of the Voice. Ready when you are is the slogan. This is one of the features that is going to be in there, but for the first time we're doing the chapter 3, like we usually Year of the Voice just before the beta, or like when the beta started, and then like when the release was happening. We didn't want to hold this back any longer, so we're just shipping it. We're going to also not talk too much about this. Instead, definitely tune in July 20 because in July 20 we will host Year of the Voice Chapter 3. But really quick, just what this is, just because we don't want to like hold it from you. You can now, you can already talk to Home Assistant like people are using their phones. I can actually, I just got a very cool new phone from the Netherlands, an actual a PTT, the old phone company. And people can use these phones to talk to Home Assistant, and now they will be able to register any sentence in Home Assistant to trigger an automation. So you could have, in fact, you can just trigger an automation to say party time, and it will like, you know, lower your blinds and like play like music, turn on the smoke machine if you have one, these kind of things. It's going to be really cool. No responses yet. That's something we're working on.
Yeah. This screenshot is not inspired by the state of my living room right now, by the way.
Yeah,
it is. So it was, yeah. Oh, maybe tomorrow. Anyways. I did test it. It did work.
Good.
So at least I vacuumed today. Yeah, sentence trigger. I think it's really cool, by the way. It makes it really easy. And I hope to see more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this,
Sorry, Mila.
Yeah, with this, like people can build a whole office out of it if they want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially, but once we get responses going, I think that's going to be the big next thing. And like, if you have responses going, you could even turn Alan's blueprint into like querying Home Assistant, right? You could just say, what's my schedule today? We generate that response with ChatGPT, send it back. That would be really cool.
Oh, wow. So basically, by the way, this was already possible, right? With the custom intents,
Yes.
but that was kind of complicated. It had to be in YAML, and just being able to add a trigger and then put the sentence in there is just like amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool. How flexible is like the sentence matching there?
So you have, it is a little bit flexible, as in you can use the syntax that we use to define our normal sentences as you do for the Home Assistant engine. So you can do like optional blocks. You cannot use matching. So normally when you write a YAML file, you can write like, oh, here's like a curly braces, like, I don't know, area or something. No, area probably works, but like you can define your own list that it should match on like multiple, and that is not working here. So here you can, so square brackets will work for optional stuff, and I think pipes to do ORs.
Well, that's awesome. I can't wait for that deep dive later this month. That's cool.
Yeah.
It has been documented, by the way. So the capabilities of the sentence are in the documentation, which is pretty cool. That's there.
Very cool.
Well, there's more to the Year of the Voice here.
I want could we work with templates, like what a mess in the living room, which triggers cleaning the living room? I'm not sure if you can match on areas right now. So you could, of course, create 5 sentences, and then based on the sentence, pick the area to target. So, but that will be some manual work. But that's a good idea. We should look into that, if we can just match on areas.
Yeah, or a variable part of the sentence.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. It's assigned as a variable later on. Sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Open Assist, another one for the Year of the Voice in a similar way. There's now an action that can be used in cards to open up the Assist dialog.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's basically the same as hitting that button in the top right?
It is. It's 100% the same, except that you can configure it, right? So you can choose to say, I wanted to start listening right away. The main use case for these is not to add such big buttons as you see on the screen right now. That's really for demo purposes. The goal is that there's people that hide the top bar. There are people that want to have Assist even easier to access. They are using wall tablets. They are using the new Pixel tablet to kind of have like a dashboard ready, and be good to just hit boom and hit the button and start talking.
Yeah, I think that's the main use case. If you have like a wall-mounted dashboard, you could like use the one that I have on the right here in this demo that automatically starts listening. So you could have a button on the wall board that you can just like touch, and you can start speaking directly instead of like hitting the microphone again. If the top bar is hidden, you couldn't reach it even. So yeah, that's cool. Cool little addition. All right. That's all about voice.
Yeah. Good.
We have a new entity in town. We're adding entities lately. But this is a good one, I would say. It's the image entity. And surprise, surprise, it's displaying an image.
Yeah. I think the origin of the image entity kind of was hacked together. It existed before because people were abusing the camera. So people would say, hey, this is not a camera, but they would use, like, they were a camera for vacuum cleaners showing floor plans, right? I think this QR code was previously a camera as well. And the problem is that if we want to create a dashboard for you that automatically like organizes your cameras, we need to know if it's a QR code that you don't care about, or that's actually part of your security system. So this is going to help tremendously because we can finally split it up and we can assume that a camera is important to you. That's why you set it up.
Yeah, so the cat of the day picture would no longer be a camera, but just an image entity, which is helpful if you want to list like all cameras.
Yeah.
And then skip that one, right?
Yeah.
So it's in that regard, it's not much different from the camera entity, except it's like optimized for images too. And that's an important factor behind this whole as well, because if you have put in an image into a camera entity as we used to do, then the UI of Home Assistant would also think it might change every time, right? So it would be polling on that image because it could be like a camera image that is constantly changing. So that's super inefficient for an image that doesn't always change, like this QR code or a cat of the day picture, which will only change once a day, or a weather radar or things like that, that changes every hour maybe. So the image entity will only update and be pulled once the image actually changes, which is kind of nice, more efficient and lightweight for that regard, and well, also saner to use for your data if you're using it on your mobile remotely, for example. Yeah. So, image entity.
It's cool.
I think that's my new favorite feature in this release. If it simplifies the calendar entity code base, that's great. Having added some complexity to it, happy to hear it getting simpler. That's great.
There's sorry, go ahead, Madalena.
How does it know that an image has been updated?
So it has part of the state of the entity is when it changed. So integrations can say, okay, well, the image changed at this time. And as soon as the time changes, the Home Assistant front end will then know, like, hey, something changed, I will update the image. Another case where this will work is, for example, we also have MQTT available for the image entity and templates. So you could define your template that like picks up a URL from the cat of the day picture, which is a fixed URL, but has a time pattern that says, well, every midnight and 1 minute past 12, update the entity. Then it will re-render that template, which is essentially an update, which will trigger then the update in the front end to refresh the image. So there's all kinds of logic in there that if the backend indicates something changed, like a new render, or the integration defines that the password change that's in this QR code maybe, well, then it will update the image.
Nice.
Yeah. Somebody is saying, how dare we skip the cat picture? Like, we keep talking about cats, but we haven't shown an actual cat now.
I didn't. I wrote the template somewhere earlier this week. Somebody asked, how does this work? And it's like you have like catoftheday.com or something, and like it has a fixed image path, and it's like a really little template. Maybe I will share it later today, but it's, yeah, well, there it is. Problem solved. Oh, but things like that are now easy, right? And weather camera, like a camera radar, weather thingies, would be nice too. But there are some integrations that we still need to migrate to the image entity. And there's also like a Fritzbox. If you have that modem, it has guest Wi-Fi and can randomize the password or change the password, I believe. And it also has an image entity now, so you could like put that on your, I don't know, wall-mounted tablet. If you have guests come over, they can just scan the password at that point. So those are the use cases people are thinking about, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
If somebody wonders what this QR code does, it links you to the Home Assistant homepage. So just like it's not a cat.
So JLO has an a question.
Yeah.
First of all, I mean, I just mentioned that we're gonna have a product manager start. That's actually JLO, but he's gonna start August 1st. So next release party, we'll have him on for sure if he wants. But the question is actually pretty interesting. A vacuum that exposes a camera with a live position of the vacuum, like today a camera entity, right? Like a floor plan map with a vacuum on it. Should it be an image or a camera? And I would say image.
Yes, because it's images. It sends over, not a live camera feed.
Yeah. The big difference about a camera is that you should be able to click on a camera and get real time, like a view of what that camera is seeing. A generated floor plan with a vacuum is an image.
Yeah, definitely. Hello, he says. Well, hi. Wow.
The other
Glad to
one,
have you on board, by the way.
yeah. Can the image be an animated GIF, JAF, whatever?
Yes. GIF.
It's
GIF.
whatever works in your browser. So yeah. WebP.
Definitely. WebP should work. Yes.
Yeah.
SVG should work.
Oh, nice.
I believe.
Yeah.
I believe. Sure. I'm not sure. Have you tested it? I don't know.
I don't know if the content type is approved. Okay.
Anyways, let's scroll further down. Image entities, kind of like one of the missing things, I would say. A new thingy to the energy dashboard. So, can you spot it? I didn't spot it at first, so it wasn't in the beta release the first time either. I was like, what? So
1 second, Frank. Before we jump in, Jan, who has done a lot of work on the image entity, just confirmed SVG is working. So
yeah, nice,
great.
Yes.
Jan built the MQTT part, by the way. So thank you there.
The platinum style MQTT integration.
Oh, wow. Right. He's doing a lot of good work, by the way, not just MQTT, but a lot of MQTT at least. Anyways, new on the energy dashboard here is the self-sufficiency quota or gauge. Let's see, displayed right here, which shows you like how much of the energy you produce you are using yourself. It also means that the lower it goes, the more you pull from the grid, which is actually not like efficient, right? I think this is a nice and neat little graph. Yeah. So how can you improve this value?
I mean, stop paying your bills.
If they disconnect you from the grid, you cannot like take from the grid anymore. Oh, that's a valid answer, I would say.
You got to run the dishwasher during the times that you generate more solar, right? That's if you have solar panels. I mean, this is all related to solar panels, of course.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So if you use the energy that you're producing and then as efficiently as possible, then it will just go higher. Another solution is just to add more solar panels, like stack them. I don't know how it works if you have your rooftop already full of them, but that's one. And the other one would be, for example, like getting like home batteries, right? If you can store the energy and then use it yourself, you don't have to take it back from the grid again. So this is a pretty interesting graph because it kind of teaches you and learns you how to use your energy more efficiently that you're like producing with solar.
I think actually it's more interesting than the one above it, right? Self-consumed solar energy. It actually doesn't matter that you don't consume them all yourself, right? Like the goal is that you don't get anything from the grid. So if you generate too much, you give back to the grid. Even if they don't pay for you for it, that's fine as long as you don't have to get anything from the grid. I wonder if you just like either should swap them or even just drop the self-consumed. Like I think self-sufficiency is definitely a better statistic.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I agree.
So we're live product development.
Are you writing this down? Yeah.
Yeah, please make notes, people.
Yeah, please.
I think
Yeah.
maybe before we continue with the rest of the release,
Yeah. Let's
maybe
talk
we
about.
should, I don't know, Marlene, do you want to like share some of your work on Home Assistant? Like, because I think a lot of people in this chat, even though they have never seen Marlene on the stream, they've probably seen one of the many projects that she's created and shared with the community over the years. In fact, it was very interesting. I was talking with Alan about service response values, and he was telling me like, well, I actually just created this e-ink screen based on this like project, and then he shared Madalena's project with me, and I was like, well, guess what? Who's going to start at Nabu-Casa?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my calendar return values on there. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
This one.
Yeah.
Love that thing. It looks so good.
Yeah. So I mean, you want to talk a bit about show some of your projects, Marlena?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so where should I start? I mean, yeah, I've been working on products and UX design for 15 years, I guess, or 16, maybe even longer. Who knows? But yeah, I work on a lot of projects. Trillion, I don't know if you know that. It's like a instant messenger. And then also like things like the UN, Startup Bus, all that kind of stuff. But smart home is awesome. Well, I first started using Home Assistant when I realized that I cannot use like Alexa simply is not good enough. And I tried to install it, but I run it on an SD card, so it didn't work. So for half a year, I haven't really started using it yet, but only until I had my surgery and I was recovering. I had nothing in my hands. I had nothing to do. And I finally started coding on Home Assistant. And I think, within 1 month, I already coded like 10,000 lines of YAML of it. So I think one of the dashboard, let me see if I can show it. Well, these are not on this release. But if you really want it, you can find it on my GitHub. Let's see which one.
Your dashboards look so beautiful, by the way.
Oh,
let me just share your theme in the chat.
Oh, window. All right. Oh yeah, this one. This one's fun. Yay, fun. Hey, Darth.
Look at that. This makes me look like amateur hour. What? It's just beautiful. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is cool because like the background is kind of like the floor plan is like it's simple enough to show what the status is, so that it's all color coded here. Anything that is like lit up are things that you need to pay attention to, and things that are not just information. And this is obviously not the direction of dashboard that we're going in, because this is like a maximalist approach. And there's only one user for this dashboard, which is myself. So I just add as many things as I like under this dashboard. So it's not for everybody. But let's see. Yeah, this is like kind of based on Star Trek LCARS, if everyone knows Star Trek. Yeah, like this is also based on like the Metro interface in Windows. So the live tiles, you can actually dial things around, and you can actually see how good the air quality is right now.
Happy 4th, yeah.
Happy 4th, yeah. So everything
is Fireworks outage from yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and that's an error. Yep. Don't look at it. Scrolling down too much. Yeah. So that's the dashboard. I mean, there's like I try to like every time someone released like a new awesome card, I try to use it. This is the Sanjay diagram, which shows that I'm turning on my AC right now, definitely, and the computers also use a lot of energy. And let's see, lights. Yeah, these lights.
1 second, Malay, because there's some people that are probably like, "Whoa, I want all of this." So just the theme is on GitHub. And I think that the energy graph you just showed, that is a custom card, right? The energy distribution.
Yep, these are all button cards right now. But who knows, right? If we can do any of that in future. I think tile card is pretty great and might expand it. Who knows? This is like, it has graph in it. And the lights, this is cool because the color of this bar is the average of all the lights in that room. And you can tune it around. Let's see, try a different scene. Dim. All right. Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yep, that's the light control card. And well, this one is awesome because this is kind of like based on my architectural background. So, do you know that we have a certain comfort zone that we would feel comfortable in, and it's between 20 degrees to 27 degrees Celsius and 20% to 80% humidity, and that's like the main comfort.
Marlene, can you zoom in a little? I think that
they call it psychrometry chart or something like that. So you can see like each room in my apartment, like which in the comfort zone and which one is not. Like the bathroom is definitely way too hot right now. The living room is like I need to open a window. So that's what that is. One thing that's cool is, this is a way overkill for everything, but you can see all the temperature in the apartment. One cool thing that here is that you can see the air quality change in the apartment inside correlated with the air quality change outside. And once the fireworks started last night, basically the air quality pollution just shoots through the roof. And you can see that it kind of the dirty air kind of comes into, even though I close all the windows. So I do turn the whole air purifier on the whole time. So this is environment, and so this one is cool too because I like
dashboard porn here. This is like
this is a
chat is going nuts.
So you can see like the whole like outside and inside and the firewall and like in the train diagram. This is partially influenced by the subway system between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, which is like where I'm from. And like in order to go between the two cities, you have cross the border and actually the firewall. And and so this is like a subway diagram for that, and that's for the network.
I think I'm just like the rest of everybody that's watching right now is going like, oh wow, oh shit, how, but what, and how?
Home assistant. That's the neighborhood. You can see all the trains running in the area.
Marlene, there's one question here. I don't know if people want to know it, but it's like, how many hours have you put in?
Oh yeah. You can look at my GitHub history, I'm sure.
I would say it's probably more than 5. So
more than 5, I would say. More than 5. This one is the live dashboard. This is what Empire State Building looks like right now. It's nice to have weather with the actual image of the city, right? There's 2 charts going on here. One is the past 12 hours, and then that's the future 12 hours. So you can see like how the temperature is going to change throughout like the past and the next 24 hours, and also like the state of the weather as well. So that is cool. Oh, and last but not the least, like all of us have a spaceship, right? So you need to have a astrometrics dashboard, which shows the solar system, and also just all satellites around the planet and all that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah.
I wonder what ChatGPT could do with some of this data summarizing The state of satellites in the solar system.
Yeah, because all these like summarize is just template summary on each page, and I would love to, to have like ChatGPT to run all those instead.
Well, you could use it now with a template, right? And then have like a text center and fill that with the ChatGPT response. So you're not constantly hammering ChatGPT, but maybe do it like every hour or every day or whatever interval you would like. And then pick that response and put that in like a textual template.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Cool. I mean, that's more explore, but should we go back to the blog for now? We can go more if you want, but
everybody's just
Let's go back to the blog. We can always have Marlene share other projects later.
We can come back to this segment later.
Right. So now we're talking about dashboards already a bit. Shall we dive into some changes to the dashboard?
Yeah, let me add your dashboard to the stream. Yeah.
Let me share the other tab here.
Oh, it looks so boring.
Yeah. Look at my beautiful dashboard. This is my office dashboard, by the way. Look how I'm more a functional guy. I like to automate stuff.
We call them minimalist. Yeah.
Minimalist. Sorry, I'm a minimalist. I'm just like, how can I ever like show my desktop again? Well, but thanks for the letter. How many hours make it work? 30 seconds, probably. So, new in this release, by the way, for dashboards is, first thing to notice, if you added a dashboard, there's now a little number shown. 1, 2, and 3. So this is important because why again, Paulus?
So yeah, this is our dashboards are done using Masonry, and so Masonry is an algorithm where basically like it's how you make a brick wall. Like everything kind of fits in. You try to fit everything. So what we are trying to do when we take the cards of your dashboards, that based on the width of your screen, being your mobile or tablet or your big desktop computer, we call virtual rows. So we try to fill the first 5 virtual rows of each column. And after that, we just kind of like put in the cards just so that like they kind of even out. So it's like a square, right? Before we had Masonry and we kind of did like one card column 1, second card column 2. It'd be just, one row might be like, one column might be super long and the other might be super short just because certain cards are shorter. You can already see it in this example, right? Like this is still kind of, it looks kind of as even as possible. The problem is, and I think a lot of people are aware of this, the up button doesn't actually go up because when you press up, does it move up? No, it will actually look at the Masonry and it might pop up anywhere on your screen. Now, we know that some people don't really like the Masonry layout, and that's something that we're looking into, but we're not there yet. But for the people that use Masonry today, which is, I guess, all of you, we made this feature. So you can click on the number now, and when you click on the number, you can actually enter a new number that it should be. So you can say, hey, put this on position 1 or 2 or 3. And so you can quickly move cards around. And that's really nice. I do realize now looking at this is that the up arrow is actually decreasing the number. So that's a bit confusing now. Right? Like you hit plus.
Yeah, it moves up. Yeah.
But that might be a plus and a minus. I don't know. We'll look into that. But it's really cool. It will help you quickly move stuff around for Mason.
Yeah, so some people asked for drag and drop for a long time, right? And this is like just a teleport, which is not the same. And we know it's not the same. But why this is awesome and cool at this point is that if you have imagine you have 20 cards right here, right? And you're adding 21. And you want to move that 1 to position number 1, then you would have to up 20 times to get it in the first position. So right now, clicking on it will just enable you to teleport it to the right place, which I think is a major improvement already. So not drag and drop, but teleporting will do for now.
Soon.
Yeah. Do you want to show the second one as well, Frank, now that we're here?
What is the second one? Help me out here.
Copy paste.
Oh, yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah, almost forgot about that one. How could I forget? So last release, let's call him Tim because his name is Tim. His GitHub name I always like butcher. So Tim actually added copy and paste support last release to the automation editor. And Tim was like, well, we could do the same thing for dashboards. So that's now here, which is pretty amazing. This means you can now copy and paste any card, and you can cut it too, by the way, any card from your dashboard into something else, like a different view, but also inside a different card. So let's say I cut this one out, and I would create a new vertical stack. I can paste the previous pasted card, cut card in, and add a new one, based on the same one in again. And now I have a vertical stack with that card pasted twice. And this also works with this vertical stack, which I can completely copy paste into another one. So moving cards around between different views and pasting them into like nested views or nested cards, that is now so much easier instead of going into YAML.
Yeah. There's one gotcha, just that like it only works in one single browser tab. So you cannot have like two tabs open and like copy paste in between.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think that there's what JLo's calling out, like JLo uses vertical layout for his mobile dashboards with dozens of cards. It will now be very easy to switch between different vertical stacks and like, move cards around.
Yep. So that's, I believe, all the dashboard changes. And if I forgot something, we'll get back to this. And I should remove the kitchen and coffee maker from my office dashboard. Otherwise, I will regret that later on. Turning off the coffee, that's a bad thing. Anyways, let's go back to the release notes. That was the UI changes. Right.
This
one is for you.
This one.
Yeah.
So by default, and until today, Home Assistant always showed all the events that happened in your Home Assistant instance in the time where you are, but the time of your phone, the time of your browser, the time of your computer that you're using to browse Home Assistant. Now, this is great if you are at home, but it can also be, and it's generally expected that the times you see are your times. However, it can be confusing because the server has maybe a different time zone if you're traveling, or in my case, I'm managing the instance of friends and family, that I see, for example, my parents' solar generation, and it's like at 6 a.m. in the morning, it's peaking. Well, it's actually like, they're based in Europe and I'm based in Brooklyn. So there it's like during the afternoon, of course. And so now I can just, when I'm browsing their UI, I can just say, hey, let's use their time zone. And then I see everything as it happens. So I can see, oh, they did actually come home at like, 7 p.m. and they did it instead of like midnight or something like this, right? So it's way easier to kind of track what happened in the house, why something went wrong, these kind of things. Looking at graphs, everything makes sense. You don't mix up days anymore. So this is a really, really cool feature.
This is really cool. A lot of people are interested in this for calendars in particular. And so, but we kind of always said, hey, we want to be consistent with what we're showing in other dialogues. So it's great to have this as a global control that's consistent across the entire UI. This will be, I think a lot of users will be really happy about this for calendar in particular.
Yeah.
It's also a bit what your personal preferences and what you expect, right? For me personally, if I would travel to a different time zone and would open Home Assistant, I somehow still expect probably to see the local time from my instance and not where I'm at right now, because, well, that's already differentiated in my head, I believe. So I think I would be my default. But especially if you manage remote ones like Paulus does, yeah, that would be really helpful. All right. What else? Oh, right. So last release, we changed the integration dashboard. And this release, we changed it again. But for good reasons, because like in general, the new integrations dashboard was loved and well received. So that was it made things a lot easier, and the new integration pages are really helpful and awesome. But still, people found it too, like the general response was it was too busy or looked a bit different than other things in the UI that we have in Home Assistant, and there was still like a little bit of height difference in case there was an error message. So for this recycle, we've iterated on it, on that concept. Matthias made like an iteration on it, and Paul implemented it, or no, sorry, Bram or Paul, I don't remember either of them. And anyways, it now looks a little bit more consistent to the rest of the UI. The whole header is now clickable right here, so you can click on the logo or the title or any part of this top part, and it will go to the integration. You click on the devices right here. The little badges, the little indicators that tells you like it's a custom integration or a cloud-based integration have now moved from the image into like the right corner. It's just a little slicker, and the busyness has been resolved by removing the device icons and all the little indicators that were there. The cog icon that was shown here, that's gone. So yeah. What did you say, Madalena?
Oh, they look very nice. It's like they are the same height now because the error message is on the second line.
Yeah, exactly. So even though like it's still the same as before, like it's still, everything is in the same place, so no muscle memory to retrain or something, but just a little bit easier on the eyes. And yeah, I think it was well done. So thank you there, Matthias. Oh yeah, I love this one. So
one of those things where like you add it and you're like, why didn't we do this before?
Yeah, indeed. Let me switch tabs, by the way. Let me just show you how it looks in this tab. So previously, if an automation would fail, like you butcher the YAML or you create like a typo in it, if you do it manually, that can happen, of course. And you would like restart or read Home Assistant, then your automation would just all of a sudden like disappear, would not be shown. And where did it go? And if you didn't notice it would be gone, then how would you know if something is wrong until the time something doesn't work as XXX? So what we've changed this cycle is that if an automation has an issue, we still load it, we'll still show it, and it will show up as this red, angry, confused little robot there. In this case, I destroyed this automation by making a typo, and I restart Home Assistant, and now it will show up. So it no longer disappears, it show up. And if I open up the automation, which is still possible in some cases, it will tell you why. In this case, it says an invalid platform Home Assistant with double T has been specified. And Bram is raising his hand. Thank you, Bram. You did well. And Eric too, by the way. And that's this case, this trigger right here, which is not correct. That's not valid. So this is one of the things you need, like Paul said, and why didn't we do this earlier? I don't know. But I'm happy it's here. It's no longer like disappearing and consistent in how this works. So, yeah.
Does it, question, because I actually don't know the answer myself. Does it still need to be valid YAML to show up, or if you completely break the YAML, will it still disappear?
If it's like unidentifiable at total, then it will not. Like, okay. But then your YAML file is fully invalid, right?
Right.
You have a big syntax failure, so that will not work. Okay. So it has to have a way to identify the automation in some way.
Yeah.
But it is most often it's like using a device that's no longer there, or things like you made a typo, like a little typo in the trigger, things like that. Your template, you forgot to close something. So it's often just things like that will now be picked up. So I think that's cool.
Yeah. Right.
In the same category, which I can show you, is a new dialog we've added. So if you create a new automation, oh, it's the wrong screen I'm clicking at. Here we go. So if we create an automation, then we would have this dialog, which was introduced a couple of releases ago. Like you could create a new automation or use one of those blueprints. But for scripts, we didn't have that. So Tim actually added it to scripts this cycle. So if I now add a script, it shows a similar dialog with the script blueprints you'll have.
I think this is great because I think a lot of people probably didn't realize that there are script blueprints.
I think so too, and especially with the new response values on services, right? The scripts become much more valuable to create and share snippets from. So blueprints are a great way to share that with the community. There are quite a few scripts. If you're looking for them, like blueprints or scripts, go to the release notes. I've added like a link here, the Blueprint Exchange and a community forum. This will probably open a new tab. No, it doesn't. And this will show you all the scripts blueprints that are on the community forum. So this is filtered already. So you can look at all the script blueprints we have, which are actually more than I expected it to be. So I was surprised to see some cool ones there, actually.
Nice.
All right.
Check.
Also done. We're not done yet, by the way. We now have, we keep going. There's so much. Lightning fast Bluetooth proxies. Want to explain that one, Paulus?
Yeah. So Nick Bidraco, he is always looking into ways he can make Home Assistant faster. And, we've been looking, one of the things that was still slow in Home Assistant was actually our Bluetooth stack. And what we are seeing is that there's a lot of Bluetooth traffic in homes. Like there's, especially Apple devices love to talk and say, hey, I'm here. And a lot of these packets, they come into Home Assistant and we throw them away because we can't actually use them. And so we see a lot of throughput, and every packet of Bluetooth had a lot of overhead because we would receive with a Bluetooth proxy a Bluetooth packet, which is an ESP home device, right? One of the ones you can make for like $6 to add Bluetooth to Home Assistant. And the moment it received a packet on the Bluetooth radio, it would immediately switch to the Wi-Fi radio, send that packet out, and then start to receive the next Bluetooth packet. But this was very inefficient. So what Bidraco did is actually multiple steps. So we don't parse the packets anymore on ESP Home at all. We just take the raw values, then we group them in groups of 16, and then send them over to Home Assistant. And because of that, in Home Assistant, they directly fed into the Bluetooth parser and matched up. And so it's lightning fast. A lot of different parsing steps are being removed from this. And we see a great speed up to like 40 to 80% less network traffic, because everything that you send between the ESP Home and a Home Assistant device has certain overhead, like a packet header, these kind of stuff. And all that stuff can now is done once for 16 packets instead of for every Bluetooth packet. And what we're actually seeing here is that Bidraco has now, his recommendation is Bluetooth proxies are faster than even native Bluetooth dongles or like the Bluetooth built into Home Assistant.
Yeah,
And
that's crazy.
that, which is insane, because this is like browse on your network and like it's being forwarded. But the reason for this is that if you use Bluetooth on like Linux, which Home Assistant is based on, what happens is that it has to go through many different layers until it gets into Home Assistant. The Bluetooth stick talks to Blues. Blues is like the Bluetooth daemon. It talks to dbus. The dbus, there's a lot of serialization, deserialization. It's very inefficient. And all that stuff is just not there with Bluetooth proxies because raw bytes are being forwarded. So super fast. Ditch your Bluetooth dongles. We're sorry. No, yeah, you can still use them. It's good. But like Bluetooth proxies, they work a lot faster now. And the other cool thing with Bluetooth proxies is that they can also do outbound connections, right? So if you have a smart lock that requires an active Bluetooth connections, that's actually possible with the Home Assistant Bluetooth proxies. Now, actually, what I realized is one step that I haven't actually said here is like, what is a Bluetooth proxy? Because we forgot to introduce the concept. So in case people are new here on this stream, I'm just going to quickly open the Bluetooth proxy page.
I got it here. I already prepped it.
Yes. So the reason we use Bluetooth proxies in Home Assistant is because Bluetooth range is very limited, and most of you put like your beautiful Home Assistant yellow box in a closet next to your Wi-Fi router and cable modem, and no one can see it. Well, the problem is with those closets is that we cannot Bluetooth very far from there. But Wi-Fi has a lot further range, or even your local Ethernet, right? Because there's ESP home devices that work with Ethernet. And so we created Bluetooth proxies so that you can create many different Bluetooth proxies, add them to your house, and from wherever they are, they'll talk Bluetooth locally to the devices that are close by, and all that data then is fed back to Home Assistant. And Home Assistant is smart enough to work with multiple Bluetooth proxies, pick the one that is closest to it. If there's a connection failure, it will fall over to the next proxy because maybe the Bluetooth device is on your body and you're moving around. And so it works great. It's really fast, and you should definitely try it out.
So if you have one of those, for example, little Atom Lights devices, which are, by the way, great.
Atom Light, M5 Stack Atom Light.
Yeah.
They sell for $7.50, and we have a web-based installer, which is actually the website that Frank currently has open, and you can install them from your browser.
Just connect them to your PC, like that one. Select it, connect, and start installing it, and then Home Assistant will discover it if you finish that process. Home Assistant will discover it, and you can add it, and then you have like this blazing fast Bluetooth extender you can place anywhere in your home where it's Wi-Fi, and your Bluetooth range will expand, which is absolutely fantastic and easy to do.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah, and the two devices you see on this page, these are our two favorites. So the Wi-Fi one is the cheapest way to expand it. The Olimax one, it's an Ethernet-based board, and it has power over Ethernet. So you can literally just have, anywhere you have a PoE switch, PoE powered Ethernet, plug it in. ESP home device is powered. It's online. It's forwarding stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The performance impact, by the way, will be the best on non-Ethernet connected devices because, well, the changes that have been made are mostly profiting from like less switching between Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Yeah. Which, of course, if you plug it into like a wired connection, is not the case at all. So you already had like a good performance on the radio, at least.
Yeah.
Still really cool tech. And if you like to extend your range in home for Bluetooth, this is the way to go. It's absolutely amazing. And if you're using a Bluetooth device, or sorry, an ESP home device already, you could build your own using ESP home too, right? Your own firmware. Maybe add like a temperature sensor and humidity sensors. You have that information from the room too, and like a motion detection, things like that. It's really extensible. That's beautiful. All right, back to the notes. I guess that's a yes.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, here, there's a question from Brian. Are there any plug-in Bluetooth extenders that you can just plug into a wall outlet and forget about it? Well, the Bluetooth proxies, like if you have one of these, the Atom lights that Frank is holding right now, it's just USB-C, right? So you could just get a adapter, cable, plug it in. It wouldn't look very beautiful, but it will work. Yeah.
I'm quickly Googling my ass off to find the one. There's also an M5 stack. MU, and this one. That is also ESP home based, but this is also a nice one to look at because it has a USB connector directly. So if you have like an old charger, you can just plug it in and hit it somewhere. So there are multiple options there. All right, Matter updates.
Yeah.
So, this one is good, right? Does it matter already? A little bit more.
You know, Matter is getting better every release. And I think that people had a lot of expectations in November when Matter got launched because, whoa, Matter is here. It's going to change everything. But it's like this chicken egg, right? Like the home automation controls needed updates. Devices need to be sold. All of you need to start buying these devices and start using them. And then people start to like care more and more. Issues are being found. Issues are being fixed. And we're getting now currently, and I think last release also, really in a place where Matter is just, it's good. Like it's And for Home Assistant users, like I sometimes hear like Matter doesn't bring anything to the table, but I think what Matter brings to the table for existing power users, like probably a lot of people watching this stream, is that it's the first smart home standard that works over IP. So an existing Wi-Fi device, if you would buy a Wi-Fi IoT device in the past, it was very likely not going to work out of the box at release day with Home Assistant, but with Matter-based Wi-Fi devices, it will work, right? So I had this Tapo link, the Tapo switch that I bought the other day, a Matter device. I plugged it in. My phone said, hey, do you want to set it up? My Android phone. I clicked yes. I clicked pair to Home Assistant. I clicked done. It was added to Home Assistant. No TP-Link app needed at all. Local connection, encrypted connection. Awesome. So Matter.
What has been improved this release is its performance. Huge improvement to the performance, because previously, like, Matter has all kinds of like data endpoints you can subscribe to, and then the device will send updates and such. That wasn't really efficiently done at our end. So what happened if you had a lot of devices, which some people now starting to have, even though there are just a couple of devices available, so it's still amazing. But some people have some more devices. We started to notice like problematic amounts of data going in and out. So Marcel has been working on making sure we subscribe only to the data we actually need, so there's less data flowing, and that's easier to handle, so everything becomes more stable.
Yeah.
That's basically in a nutshell what's happening.
The other thing that's here, the second part is Matter bridges. So Matter has this notion of a bridge where you can take an existing home automation hub, can expose itself over Matter, and then not just be one device, but all the devices that hub can control. And so, for example, the Aqara M2 hub controls the Aqara ecosystem. Instead, Home Assistant doesn't have to integrate the Aqara API anymore. We can just talk to the Aqara M2 hub directly, get all that data. Previously, if you would pair a new device or remove a device from your Aqara hub, you would have to like restart Home Assistant, and now that's also detected instantly.
Yeah, if you add a device to your Aqara hub, it will just pop up.
Yeah,
but the device should be supported with Home Assistant. So if you have like one of those nice Aqara like TRVs, then those will now also work, because this release we've added climate support for Matter devices. This
is huge. Like, and actually, the reason this is really big, and this is actually also relates to Alan, is Nest, the latest Nest thermostat, not just all Nest thermostats, only the latest version supports Matter. So you can actually integrate locally Nest thermostats and talk directly to Home Assistant. There's no cloud necessary. It just works. Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty great. I saw somebody got the Nest working on the newer version. Mine are a little older, so they're not quite working yet. But I know we've talked a lot about authentication setup and OAuth with Google devices in particular, and so I think this is pretty exciting for simplifying that journey of getting your device integrated into Home Assistant.
It's so people probably don't know, but Alan maintains the Nest integration, the new Nest API, and the way it works, and it's pretty complicated, and we've tried to make it easier, but we couldn't like get the right authorization from Google to make like a generic login because of the security practices of the Raspberry Pi, as in there are none. But tend to happen is that everybody had to create their own Google Cloud project, pay $5 to unlock the cloud feature, and then connect their Nest thermostat to Home Assistant or all their Nest devices. Like, you still need to do that today if you want your other Nest devices, right? So the cameras, the smoke detectors too, I think, Alan, are there? Or
yeah, they're not supported in the new APIs yet, so I don't know what the future looks like for those. But
okay, but yeah, the camera. If you want Nest camera, you still need to set up the Nest integration. If you are an owner of a Nest thermostat, you don't have to anymore. The one just caveat. This is just it's already written there in the text. There are 3 different Nest thermostats, and there's one that is called Nest thermostat. That's the one that has Matter. The other 2 Nest thermostats are not called Nest thermostat, but they're called Nest thermostat E and Nest Learning thermostat. those do not have Matter yet. And I think the learning thermostats, they're very old. I don't think they will be able to port Matter to it. I don't know if the E would be powerful enough to support it.
I think that brand started in around 2020. So that's kind of the reference that I have. Mine were the E from 2019. So just kind of missed it. But I think, if you've kind of got that one on the top corner.
Yeah.
So what Google published is that every Nest thermostat that was created in 2020 and newer would receive support. In the future. That's what the original statement said. That I tried to look it up, but as far as this right now, only the Nest thermostat, which is super confusing by name, by the way, if you look at all the others. But if you have this one, this is the Nest thermostat. These are not apparently, but this one is the one that currently is supported by Matter.
Yeah.
I was doing a similar exercise to figure out if my hub support was a border router or not. And like, okay, you look at the little details, like, is there plastic on the corner? Then no, otherwise yes. And they're all named very similar. So,
yeah.
Hence, I'll link this in the release notes. It was just too hard to figure out at all. Anyways,
anyway, it's good to see what the future might look like, I guess, even though there's kind of early support here. This is like a much easier direction, I think, for end users than kind of dealing with credentials, especially for a simple case like a thermostat, right? You just want it to work. And
yeah.
And what I really like here is that, Google didn't have to do this, right? Like, as in, Google has their smart home system, which Nest already work with. I'm very happy to see that Google is opening up their devices to make it compatible with Home Assistant via Matter locally. That's just awesome to see.
Yeah. I'm just looking at like our stats, by the way. If we are on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Why is nobody pushing the thumbs up? Can we hit the thumbs up, please?
Thumbs up.
This is thumbs up. This is a great release, right? Come on. Well, thank you. Anyways, what's more?
Yeah.
What's more in this release? Oh, yeah. So this is more of a boring policy stuff is generally a bit boring, maybe, but still, I think it's an important one. I added it because I think it's an important thing. Like I often read messages about how we break stuff again, right? And it's actually not something we want to do. It's something that sometimes happens and sometimes necessary to move forward. But we really, really do try to minimize that as much as we can. And if it happens, to do the best we can to inform you and help you. However, we always kind of, like, it was an unwritten rule, maintain the rule that a deprecation period, like the period that stuff like should have before removing it fully, was 2 release cycles. And that turned out to be more often to be a little bit too short. So if you would skip 2 releases and we made a deprecation in that period, you would run into a breaking change after 2 months. So that was not so friendly. So what we've done, we've put in a new policy where we're going to enforce people to enforce contributors to at least keep a period of 6 months of deprecation, which gives you, like, if you upgrade twice a year, then you're safe. You will get probably every breaking change notified on your dashboard in your repair center and tells you how you should resolve it, or we can automatically migrate as well. And then you should not run into as many breaking changes anymore. So that's the idea. And yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with that result, hoping that people will run into breaking changes less, especially when moving from YAML to UI.
Yeah. I think it's also good to say that anything that has migrated to the UI is not going to get breaking changes. Like the breaking changes that we often see is because people are moving from YAML and moving integration to the UI. And like I said before, we have 1,200 integrations. So yeah, there's always an integration moving to the UI, right? And so right now we're making sure that that process is going to be very smooth.
Yep. So hope you will not run into this one at least again.
Yeah.
We do care, kind of deal. Actually, we do. It is annoying. I don't like them either. Anyway, other noteworthy changes. We've gone to the big list, by the way. There are some big things in the other noteworthy changes, but I felt like the section is already like all the topics are already big enough.
Wait, Frank, before we go to the noteworthy changes,
Yeah.
you want to should we just look at some more of Madalena's work?
Does she have more?
Given that people really liked it, and there's
yeah. What does she have in store?
Her dashboard.
Ah, okay.
What's the thing on the right, by the way, Madalena? Or from my end, the right, it's your left, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, people in the chat were commenting on it as well.
Let's see. That's the USS A. The sound card. I'm not going to spoil everybody what the name of the ship actually is. Yeah. So, I mean, this is this one is fun because it's an e-ink display.
I'm gonna make you a little bigger.
Okay. Leaning on the weatherman. Okay, so that's the. So yeah, I think it would be nice to show the one from the photograph, right? Because the intent of the design really is not just in the picture frame, right? But it's also something that blends in with the home decor better, right? Because if you want any of your smart home to be approved by the rest of the family, other people living in the house, right? It needs to looks more like other things that are in the house. So this is framed the picture frame so that it looks like other notices at the entrance of my door. And
you want me to share the photo from your GitHub repo?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, you can see that the trick here is only one of them is an e-ink screen, and the other ones are actually printed, and one of them is an intercom. But they're all made to look exactly the same, so that looks great at the entrance, and it doesn't look like I'm just sticking a tablet on a wall.
Nice.
I think being contextual, right? With the surroundings is important, right? So this is just not as dense and crazy as the dashboard that I have, but just with just the things that you need to know when you exit the apartment, which is the weather, and also the L train is not very good right now, as usual.
With Home Assistant, we love e-ink screens. I think Madalena was doing a research, a breakdown of top upvoted Reddit posts on the Home Assistant subreddit.
Oh yes.
How many were e-ink?
Well, I mean, for the top Reddit posts, I think at least in the top 10, I think the top 6 of them are e-ink. Yeah, so it's that's the most favorite dashboard that people want. It's not just tablets, but yeah, tablets are pretty popular too.
Yeah,
I mean, some people also like to have no screens.
True, boys.
Yeah.
I would. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I built that project and it was really cool. I appreciated having all the config for the ESP Home all checked in to GitHub. It was pretty helpful for me learning how to do very advanced things with ESP Home. So it was super cool project.
I think one thing that really is really cool about it is that I had this project in mind since it was 2016 or something like that, forever. I bought the e-ink screen, but I have no idea how to get the Arduino to work for so many years. And then one day with ESP Home, everything just clicks together in just 1 week.
Boom.
Boom. Amazing. It's just great for making custom hardware, from scratch.
I just I highlighted Keith KBX81. He is one of the maintainers of the ESP Home who works at Nabukasa full time. And he said he just merged support for another e-ink device. So you can never support enough e-ink devices in ESP Home. So that's one more.
Yep.
So I'm an e-ink amateur, but I've seen people buying these old displays from Kindles and e-readers and such. Is that still a thing, or Like if I would build such a thing, would I just like break one of those, or how would I go into such a thing?
There's an add-on that like converts the dashboard into JPEG that you can load from a Kindle. But yeah, I don't think you can do ESP Home with a Kindle. It's like more complicated. And actually, yeah, before then I bought 2 secondhand Kindle to try to build it, and I couldn't make it work.
So my trick is I go on Amazon, I typed e-ink, and the first thing on there is supported by ESP Home. This is the first thing of the size I wanted. And so it's just the first one, the Waveshare 7.5 inch is what I ended up using. And maybe you had to pick like which exact one. There's a couple drivers maybe, but yeah, if you're at all curious, definitely, I think this is a good project to follow and buy that device and then you're good to go.
Let me try.
So yeah, I put it in the chat, highlighting it on the screen now.
I was e-ink curious for a while and it's kind of took me over and it's cool. I'm into it now. Yeah, it's good.
Right. So we have 2 choices right now. We can, there's one more Madalena project we can look at, or we can finish the release notes and then see if we have enough time. But this other project is really cool.
Sure. I'm curious now. We're looking at beautiful stuff, and then put a screen full of text is not like.
But Madalena, this is unreleased.
This hasn't been released, but it's what I wanted to use to replace all my Alexa, because all the Echo Show has been showing ads in the past year, right?
Right.
It was great to show some information that I actually care about. Yeah, I shared a screen.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so that's Home Assistant. Yeah, that's built in Lovelace dashboard. And yeah, well, the coolest thing is, well, besides that, I have 15 chores overdue, is that this is a clock, and that's the actual satellite image from the American satellite pointing at the Earth. So these are actual clouds right now, which is awesome. And yeah, and it would just like go on the slideshow, just like, you know, any of your Google Home or like Echo Show devices. And yeah, so like it's something that is like for ambient information. So it's like something that is good to know. And if you glance at it, like something interesting that might pique your interest. And it would just run in the kitchen like this, right? So it's like air quality alerts, things like that. And there's more of it, right? Besides like slideshows, like slightly cloudy, and you can swipe through it if you want. Weather forecast, like that. Yeah. So
do you cast this or something to a cast device, or what's the idea?
Yeah. So for like the Google Home devices or like the Lenovo clock, I can I can basically use fully kiosk browser. But for Alexa, I do essentially have a voice command to tell Alexa to start the web browser every like 10 minutes.
Okay, that works. Right.
So basically, yeah, force it to keep running. And yeah, so well, that's more than this, right? So I can actually use it to control the apartment too. So like this that's like the menu. It's 3D. So yeah, you like all the chores. I still haven't watered my plant yet, you know, things like that. This is very much based on the Windows Phone interface, as usual. So it's horizontal scroll, and there's you can control the lights, of course, just like the other dashboard, right? And then, you know, and then there are things like you can play music. Yeah, this is awesome. Like again, like just tap on it, and then like you can play the radio in a stereo in the living room.
It just looks beautiful. I don't know what to say else.
This one is cool too. So yeah, this is like the TV remote control. So you can like you can see like what I'm playing right now. You can use the remote to control it. I mean, actually we'll stop playing. And you can see like what's on deck on my Plex as well. These are all great shows, by the way. And all the John Wick movies that I purchased on Plex. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so this is really cool because it's all touch friendly, and it's just like it fits in the tiny screen that like those devices have. Something to think about, you know. Oh, it's really hot outside. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're welcome. That's all I have for now.
This is
Super
awesome.
cool. Yeah, it
Mhm.
looks great.
Yay.
Now, Alan, it's time for your dashboard. No, sorry. What? This is just amazing.
Mine's
It is-
default only. I only use the default. I don't even have any custom cards. So I got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, right.
Well, if you're
Or I'll
using
just wait long enough.
that was what if you're using the default, we have a lot of work to do, right? To make
That's
it
right.
better.
Yeah. I'll just wait and we'll see. Yeah.
When is
Definitely
that going
inspired,
to be released?
Well,
Yeah,
I-
good question.
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really nice. Absolutely stunning.
Cool.
All right, back on Earth.
Thank you so much for sharing. Absolutely inspiring. Yeah,
Very cool.
it does inspire a lot.
Hopefully, we can like make it easy for everyone to, do similar things for the dashboards too.
Can you please apply for a job, by the way? Somebody asks.
Yeah, I try. Have I asked Paulus about it?
No, yeah. For the people that missed the start of the stream, Marlena started last Monday at Nabucasa, and she is gonna lead product and design.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, some of you might have seen me already because I've been doing user research, like with some of Home Assistant users. So yeah, this time we're going to have, research informed, something that actually works with our admins and our users, and also is like data driven. It's not just about, just like what's cool, but also what's helpful and useful for everyone. One thing I think that would be great is to like recognize the fact that like our Home Assistant user base is a wide range of power users and also people who just graduated from their like normal smart home system. So on one hand, we have to make it easier for people to come on board, but on the other hand, we have to keep it powerful as well for people who like wants to use Home Assistant for that reason.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's the news coming ahead in the next few months. But I just started, so nothing released yet.
There's so much work to do across the board. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it though. I'm always looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to your work, Marlena.
Yeah, me too. So nice to work with
Me
you
too.
too. Let's take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think just to wrap it up, right? Like with Home Assistant, we came from text files. We went to like when we started working full time, we were like, okay, now we can add a UI. We have time and effort to like put it in that. And we've been making Home Assistant easier to use. We've tried to make it more accessible with Yellow, with the Home Assistant Blue, with the Sky Connect, get people more out of Home Assistant. I think Raspberry Pi shortage has really held the Home Assistant community back. I think there's been a lot of people in the last 2 years that have watched videos that are like, I want to use Home Assistant, go to the store and don't find anything. That's going to be solved Q3. I expect the community to actually grow a lot once Raspberry Pi just becomes generally available again. And so we're going to see a lot of new users, also less experienced users. So we need to make sure we accommodate everyone.
Yep. All right.
All right.
So I think for closing the release, by the way, I would strongly recommend to check out the other Novirthy section yourself. Like there's a lot of stuff in there, by the way, but nothing you can explore on your own. I think we had the major ones at this point. Are there any breaking things we want to raise and tell?
If you're using Home Assistant Docker, or the Home Assistant container, some people are using the wrong label on Docker, and Docker is kind of complicated, right? So if you go down that route, we generally be like, you're on your own, but still, some people take the wrong tag. So the correct and preferred tag is stable. Like if you use stable, you will always use the latest stable version. We prefer that you get your Home Assistant container from the GitHub repository, ghcr.io, which, by the way, this is only for Home Assistant container. If you use Home Assistant operating system supervised, this is all done for you. So only if you set up the Docker yourself, please get it from the GHCR link. Otherwise, if you have to get it from Docker Hub, that's okay. Get it from the stable tag.
Yeah. So what happened in the past, or what we still do, by the way, is that we build intermediate containers, like little containers for specific environments, like Raspberry Pi 4 or specific architectures. And all those images we build, in the end, we combine into a meta image, which is the one displayed right now, which is a multi-architecture meta image. So you can just use it no matter which architecture you're using. And what happened in the past is that some tutorials or some people used the specific architecture in this tag, which was just meant for us as an intermediate build artifact. And we are no longer publishing those to Docker Hub because we're not using Docker Hub anymore internally. So if you've been using one of those intermediate images, you will no longer receive updates at this point. So that's why this warning is in the breaking changes section. Just make sure if you're using Docker in a Docker Compose file or whatever Docker interface you're using, like Portainer or on your NAS or something like that, make sure you use this one. It will just work. And that's the one we officially maintain and also document, and that's the official image that will just be up to date.
Yes.
Right. All right.
I think that's the only noteworthy change. I'm just gonna halfway during the release notes, I already mentioned Year of the Voice Chapter 3 is coming. I forgot that I did. We have actually a promo graphic that I've put together. And so
wow, the thing, yeah.
I was gonna share it first.
Beautiful.
You will never guess.
What does that mean?
So yeah, if you are interested in voice or just interested in more cool Home Assistant stuff, definitely join us July 20. We will pre-announce it on YouTube right after this stream ends. We didn't want to mess with the people finding this release. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. We're going to talk about stuff that came in this release, some other stuff that is coming at other places, which I definitely won't tell, and you won't notice where it's going to come from. Yeah, it's going to be cool. And so yeah, definitely come check out Year of the Voice Chapter 3. Mike is all psyched up to talk to you guys. Yeah. So.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, we have 5 minutes left.
Nice.
Any closing words, Alan?
No, I'm just happy to go update my Docker container. I'm so glad you showed me that note. I would have missed that. It's exciting. Very informative, yeah.
You have any closing words, Marlena?
Well, I'm just so happy to be here and meet everyone. This is a great project. It's definitely everyone really loves working on it, and also it's a great open source community. And I can't wait to see what I can help with in the next few months.
Awesome. We're so happy to have you. Cool. So we just wrap it up, Frank?
I think so. I think this release was already huge, and all the stuff Madalena showed, I'm already overload. Overload, yes, definitely. But no, it was. I think this release was huge. Last release was huge. So closing it up, I think next release will be. Well, let's take it slow a bit. The holiday season is starting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. We wish everybody a great summer holiday. Or, of course, if you're in the other side of the world, great winter.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So enjoy the release.
Mhm.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh.